Small habits create powerful identities. That's the part most people never understand. Success is rarely one giant moment. It's small actions, repeated daily, until they completely change who you become. And according to Grant Cardone, most people fail because they underestimate the power of daily standards. One lazy morning, one distraction, one excuse at a time, and slowly, their potential disappears. But successful people operate differently. They work on specific things every single day, whether they feel motivated or not. And once you understand these 10 habits, you'll realize why disciplined people keep growing while everyone else keeps restarting. Look around carefully. Most people are busy, but not improving. They wake up stressed, distracted, mentally tired, and despite wanting success badly, their habits remain weak. That's the dangerous part, because eventually, your habits become your identity. That's why so many people stay stuck for years, not because they lack intelligence, because they repeat the same destructive routines daily. Scrolling instead of building, complaining instead of learning, waiting instead of acting. And over time, average behavior starts feeling normal. This is exactly why studying people like Grant Cardone matters, because successful people leave patterns behind. Patterns of discipline, patterns of focus, patterns of execution. And these 10 daily habits reveal how powerful routines can become when repeated long enough. Modern life rewards distraction. That's the real problem. Most people cannot focus deeply anymore. Notifications, entertainment, constant stimulation. Everything fights for attention constantly. And distracted people struggle to build meaningful lives because success requires consistency, not occasional effort, daily effort. This is why disciplined people protect routines aggressively, because routines remove chaos, and chaos destroys momentum. That's why high performers often appear obsessive. They understand something average people ignore. Your future is shaped by what you repeatedly do, not what you occasionally feel inspired to do. Nobody explains discipline honestly anymore. Social media turns success into aesthetics, luxury, cars, money, status. But those are outcomes, not causes. The real difference happens internally first, through repetition, self-control, standards, execution. And this is something Grant Cardone constantly talks about. Massive action. Because successful people do not rely on temporary motivation. They build systems. And systems outperform emotions every time. That's why daily habits matter so much psychologically. Because every repeated action reinforces identity. Every disciplined action says, "This is who I am becoming." Part 1. He works on his mindset daily. The first thing disciplined people protect is mindset. Because negative thinking destroys execution quickly, most people wake up already defeated mentally, complaining, overthinking, doubting themselves, and without realizing it, their mindset weakens their behavior. But successful people feed their minds differently. Books, goals, vision, positive environments. This is why Grant Cardone constantly speaks about thinking bigger. Because small thinking creates small action, and small action creates average results. But here's the real difference. Successful people don't just think differently. They act differently every single day. And this next habit explains why disciplined people build momentum faster than everyone else. Part 2. He takes massive action. Most people hesitate too much. They wait for certainty, wait for confidence, wait for the perfect moment. Meanwhile, time disappears. This is why massive action matters psychologically. Action creates momentum. Momentum builds confidence. And confidence changes identity. That's why people like Grant Cardone move aggressively toward goals. Not because they never fear failure, because they understand overthinking creates paralysis, and paralysis destroys ambition quietly. Part 3. He protects his focus. Focus became rare. That's why focused people stand out massively today. Most people lose hours daily without noticing. Scrolling, watching random content, jumping between distractions, and slowly, their attention span weakens. But disciplined people protect focus aggressively. Less noise, less drama, less meaningless stimulation. Because whatever controls your attention controls your future. That's why successful people often seem intense. Their focus is intentional. Part 4. He trains discipline, even without motivation. This habit changes everything. Most people work only when they feel inspired. That's dangerous, because feelings are unreliable. Disciplined people execute anyway. This is exactly what athletes like Kobe Bryant mastered. Consistency despite emotion. That's real discipline. And discipline works like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. Meanwhile, every excuse weakens self-respect psychologically. And this is exactly what most people never realize. Every promise you break to yourself slowly destroys confidence internally. But the next habit explains why successful people keep improving while others stay stagnant. Part 5. He works on his communication skills. Communication changes opportunities. Most people underestimate this massively. Your words affect relationships, business, leadership, confidence. That's why successful people constantly improve communication. Speaking clearly, listening carefully, persuading effectively. Look at entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs. His communication transformed products into movements, because communication creates influence, and influence creates opportunities. Part 6. He trains his body. Physical energy affects mental energy. Most people separate mindset from health, but they're deeply connected. Exercise improves focus, confidence, discipline, stress management. That's why disciplined people train consistently, not just for appearance, for psychological strength, because strong bodies often reinforce stronger minds, and routines built physically often spill into every other area of life. Part 7. He reviews his goals daily. Most people forget their goals quickly. Life distracts them. Bills, entertainment, problems, comfort, and slowly, urgency disappears. But focused people review goals constantly. Why? Because repeated vision strengthens emotional commitment. This is why Grant Cardone talks about obsession so much. Obsessed people remember what they're building. Average people forget. That changes execution massively. But here's where everything changes. The people who succeed are usually the people who stay emotionally connected to their goals the longest. And this next habit explains why consistency becomes easier for them. Part 8. He controls his environment. Environment shapes behavior more than most people realize. Lazy environments weaken discipline. Distracted environments weaken focus. Negative people weaken ambition. That's why successful people protect their environment carefully. Cleaner spaces, focused people, productive routines. Because environment influences identity daily, and identity shapes action. Simple principle, massive impact. Part 9. He learns every day. Most people stop learning after school. That's dangerous, because growth stops when curiosity disappears. Successful people remain students constantly, reading, studying, listening, improving. This is why wealthy people often think differently. Their minds evolve differently over time, and knowledge compounds exactly like money. Small learning repeated daily creates enormous long-term advantages. Part 10. He works on self-belief. This final habit might be the most important. Because without belief, people quit early. Most people destroy themselves internally through doubt. I'm not ready. I'm too late. I can't do it. But disciplined people reinforce belief through action. Every completed task builds confidence. Every difficult habit strengthens identity. And eventually, self-belief becomes evidence-based, not motivational. That's powerful. Now imagine this carefully. Imagine improving just 1% daily for the next year. Better focus, better discipline, better routines, better standards. What would happen to your life? Everything would begin changing slowly. Your confidence, your mindset, your results, your identity. That's the real secret behind successful people. Not magic, repetition. Because powerful identities are built through repeated daily actions. And suddenly, you realize something important. Most people are not failing because they lack potential. They are failing because their habits contradict the future they want. That's the breakthrough, not motivation. Alignment. So if you truly want to transform your life, start with your daily habits. Protect your mindset. Take massive action. Train discipline. Focus deeply. Improve communication. Exercise consistently. Review goals. Control your environment. Learn daily. Strengthen self-belief. Simple habits. Repeated long enough, they completely change who you become. And remember this, success is rarely about one giant breakthrough. It's about small disciplined actions repeated until they become identity. And the strangest part? Most people will hear these habits, agree with them completely, then repeat the same routines tomorrow because average habits feel comfortable. But the people who actually transform their lives, they understand one thing most people ignore. Your future is hidden inside the small things you choose to repeat every single day. And people underestimate that truth constantly.